This camera is the same age as me, and I'm 69, so 1957. It is the Praktica FX2, and I wanted a camera from my birth year of birth, and I also wanted to try out a camera which had a waist level viewfinder, because I like street photography and they reckon it's a bit less obtrusive if you're using one of these. So I picked this up off eBay, inevitably. I think I'd gone and watched another xenography video and he'd mentioned it as a beautiful little piece of kit. Got this one really cheap, £8 I think, because it was sold as untested. Oh, if ever you're dealing in eBay, make sure you run a film through your eBay sales. The premium you get for selling a fully tested camera with photos is massive. That's my little tip of the day. But because this one had unknown functionality, goes very cheap. But I found everything was working on it. And I've cleaned it up. I've given it a really nice tidy up. I've checked the light seals on it. I don't seem to have many because it's such a well designed camera that it almost seems to the engineering of it is the seal. This was a quite revolutionary camera in many ways, because it was one of the first cameras to produce an auto aperture facility. Let's have a look at the camera in a bit more detail. Praktica FX2. Here, unusual point number 1, shutter button on the front. Feels okay though, feels right. Unusual point number 2, no lever for rewind. For cocking the shutter, you just literally turn this dial around. And in doing so, it lifts the mirror and allows you to take a shot. Oh, look at that. This next set of buttons along control the shutter speeds. And you can do whatever you want with this, whether your shutter is cocked or not, which is a big improvement on some of the later Zorky type cameras where you can really mess up a camera by doing it at the wrong time. There's a couple of arrows here on the lower dial and one arrow on the top dial, because it separates out the slow speeds from the fast speeds. It's got a limited range of speeds. Looking at it now, I can see that the fastest speed it has is a 500th of a second, through 200ths to 100th, through 50th, through to 25th. Those are all indicated in the black writing, and in order to access those, you actually have to have the red top button lined up with the black lower button. Slower speeds can only be accessed when you turn this dial from the red top dial to line up with the red on the lower dial. So that's probably the most quirky thing about it, but you'll get used to it. And then there is a reasonable range of slow speeds as well, including bulb. Bulb can be accessed on either of those two settings. So there you go. That's the right hand side. There's a film rewind button there on top, and on the left hand side you have got the rewind button itself, the rewind crank. So here's where the fun starts. There's the waist level viewfinder, which pops up beautifully to reveal a lovely focusing screen inside. And a lovely view. In addition, if you really want to get down and funky, there is a focusing magnifier which enables you to move in on even more detail. I guess I'm mainly going to be using this camera street shots, for landscapes, mainly on a tripod even maybe. You can use it as an eye level, but not with any real focusing power. This piece lifts up here, like so, and then here is a little focusing square without a screen. It allows you just to frame up if you wanted to use it in that way. So that's what you would see if you were focusing in that way, as an eye level. Gosh, the engineering in this is fantastic. It's made in Germany, as you can see from the designation here, and it was made in Dresden, one of the legendary factories. And my camera on the back, bit of historical relevance here, they decided they needed to indicate that it was USSR occupied Germany. Not sure why. These are probably for export to Europe. There's the back of the camera, very plain. Let's pop the front down now so we can have a look at the back. Put the lens cap back on for a second. So, how does it open? On this side here, there's a button you need to push up, and the back of the camera comes off completely, like so. There's the back plate. You know, this is 69 years old coming up. Look at the condition that's in. Incredible. That's what I meant about the seal, no light seals. I mean, there might be some in here along these lines, can't tell. There's the cloth shutter and looking in pretty reasonable condition. Am I wound on? Yes I am, so you should see this operate. There we go. And that speed was, what are we on? There's a tiny little red dot to indicate what the speed level is. Can't for the life see it. So yeah, pop the film in this side, extend the leader across, tag it in here, making sure that this catches on your film leader, and then wind on a couple of shots and you're ready to go. Pop the back on. Very sort of firm. Everything seems to be really engineered to finest standards. I didn't get this with a lens, but it'll take any M42 lens, so you've got a massive range of lenses available. Put on one of my favourite lenses here. This is the f2.8 50 Carl Zeiss Jena DDR. It's the Tessar. It's a beautiful sharp lens. It'll go down to 2.8 up to f22 and close focusing as well. We can get right down to just over a foot, 0.35 of a metre. So, came with its original full ever-ready case, including the top part, obviously in real leather, high quality leather. Now I'm looking forward to using this because The waist level viewfinder will be an interesting development for me. Never used one before. Let's see how we get on. So, how did I find the Praktica FX2? Is it showing its age? 68, 69 years old, a bit like me, creaking a bit? Well, it was a really interesting experience. A couple of things. First of all, I thought the camera was fully functioning, but I found that I only got half of my 36 shot rollback, and the pictures that I took outside with the 500th of a second shutter speed, none of those came out. This is what they looked like. And I think this is a condition that's known as the curtain, one of the curtains not operating properly. So that was a real pity, because inside the cathedral, as you've seen, most of the shots were I was pleased with them. And they were all taken at between a 25th and a 50th of a second. No camera shake. The other big lesson for me is that I struggled a bit with the waist level focusing. I really did. I always go to Gloucester Cathedral for my sample shots because it's I can compare like with like then. But this particular camera, the waist level viewfinder, is not really well suited to that type of photography. You need much more manoeuvrability than you get with a waist level viewfinder. And I struggle to focus, as you can see from some of the shots. So I think I would probably use this camera again on the slower speeds. Everything below 500th, I'm not going to get it serviced or repaired. I think that's probably a bridge too far. But it's still usable. There's 200th and 100th and all the slow speeds. And I think I would use it for a tripod mounted session with more portrait, landscape type photography. But I really enjoyed using it. And I hope you enjoyed the video.